Welcome to RGV On the Rise, a limited series podcast about the economy and opportunities of Hidalgo County, the Rio Grande Valley, and South Texas. Please say hello to today's guest.
Welcome, Hidalgo County Tax Assessor Collector Paul Villarreal. Not only do you oversee the motor vehicle department, but you oversee collection of property taxes. And it's that time of year again, the mailing out of property tax bills to Hidalgo County property owners. Let's begin by helping people understand what to expect and when specifically to expect their tax bills.
Well, thank you for inviting me. First of all, good morning, and it's a pleasure. It's an honor for me to be here. I like to inform our Hidalgo County taxpayers when their tax statements are going out. Yes, definitely. July 25th, the Hidalgo County Appraisal District gave me the values that they certified for this year, for 2024, and I'm waiting for the 42 entities that I collect for. 42 entities by September 30th, they should adopt their tax rate. Once they adopt the tax rate and certify that, they'll give it to me. And what we do with the value and the tax rate that we get, we put them into our system. We'll create tax rolls, and we'll come up with the tax statements that need to be sent out. So by the end of October, first part of November, that's when the tax statements will be going out to all the 42 entities in this county.
Well, let's talk about that. What exactly does the tax bill look like?
Well, the tax bill last year was I'm going to show you this. It was a light blue. This year, as you can see it right here, you can see the front. This bill here was light blue for 2023. In 2024, it's going to look like a light green. So you can see in the front, it's got all the information. It has the back area. What it has in the back area, it's got all the locations where you can go through the banks, or we have 8 locations that we can discuss later.
Okay. So on that bill, the tax rate of each jurisdiction is broken down, correct?
Yeah, the state comptroller by law, we need to have in front of the tax bill. It's going to give you the breakdown of the improvement, the land. It's going to give you your tax rate, and it's going to give you the amount that's due from November 1st or the last part of October through January 31st of next year, the base amount. And then after that, it'll go ahead and give you a detail of if you're delinquent, it's going to have penalties and interest after February, and break it down.
Now, this is going to be an interesting year because it's the first year after the Texas legislature increased the homestead exemption to $100,000. Can you explain, first off, what the homestead exemption is and what significance of the $100,000?
In Hidalgo County, when you apply for homestead exemption, that's your primary residence. So you're allowed to go ahead and apply for your homestead exemption. You must have your driver's license, the address where that home is. It must be the same in order for you to apply for that exemption at the Hidalgo County Appraisal District. That appraisal district is here in Edinburgh. So at this point, it's so important for you to apply if it's your home. And what happened with that? Well, if you were being taxed on your school district and you were getting a reduction of $40,000 and it went up to $100,000, then now if your home is $100,000, then you're paying zero. If your home is worth $110,000, then you're only paying on $10,000 because your homestead is a $100,000. And now that people know that there's a homestead of $100,000, they're applying some more. So that's the benefit that you have if you have a home and it's your address. You cannot have a address in another city and you say your residence is in Edinburgh. The appraisal district will not allow it.
Well, last year was an interesting year in that several school districts had November 7th elections, and it forced you to send out multiple tax bills. Is that going to be happening this year?
Thank God, no.
Okay.
No, that's not going to happen. Last year was a nightmare for our office. We had to actually key in manually over 343,000 bills. Because normally, like I said, I have to wait for the 42 entities to give me by law the tax rate by September 30th. Well, there was 8 school districts that, according to the exemption that was coming in, they needed to have probably more funds. Every school district, more population comes in. You probably need more funding depending on the size of your school district. So when they did their calculation, it automatically triggered an election. So I'm waiting here for the tax rate by September 30th. This 8 school districts are not able to give me the tax rate. I have contracts with the other entities that I have, so automatically I had to send out those tax statements, and I told the 8 entities, once the election comes through, I'm going to give you the data, the file, so you can go ahead and create the tax statements and send them out. So for people that thought that maybe they had already paid all their other taxes, later on they get a tax statement from the school district. It was a little bit confusing, but like I said, it's not going to happen this year.
Well, thank God. Now, many people rely on their mortgage company to pay their tax bills out of an escrow account. What should these people do with this year's tax bill?
Okay, automatically our system will go ahead and send out the tax statements to the mortgage company because it's coded. So we get the separate tax statements printed out, or we can electronically send it to them. Some of them prefer the tax statements printed and some of them electronically. So what we do is send it to them. Now, me as the taxpayer, I can say I have a mortgage, but I don't have a tax statement. It went to them. Well, you can always call our office at 956-318-2157 and says, look, this is my property account. This is my address. It's under this name. We can look up the information and let you know, look, this is the amount that's owed by the mortgage. At that point, you're always on the lookout. Normally, everybody wants to pay their tax statements by December 31st so they can go ahead and put them on their income tax. So for anybody that has a mortgage, they can always call us and says maybe the 15th of December, and maybe by that time your mortgage is paid it, and you can say, okay, well, it's paid for. But what about it if you call us in January and I tell you that the taxes are still due? Well, maybe that person paid their mortgage in September. They never updated our file or addresses, or they never removed the code. So we did send it out to the mortgage. So it's always good for those people that have paid their mortgage in full to call us, because you're going to be responsible. Even if the taxes are not paid in February comes first, there's a 7% penalty and interest. So just to avoid that, give us a call. We'll help you out.
And I understand it's fairly commonplace for mortgage companies to buy the mortgages of other mortgage companies.
Yes.
Is it incumbent upon the taxpayer to keep you informed of the new mortgage company that's taken over the escrow?
Well, when that happens, normally the mortgage is dealing with the taxpayer. We don't know what's going on there.
Right.
They're dealing with the taxpayer. So as soon as the taxpayer finds out that their mortgage has been sold, make sure you tell the mortgage company to send us the information so we can update it and send it within time before January 31st. So like that, they can send the payment and we'll pay it. Because if you don't, then it's going to go delinquent. So that's very important. That's a very good question, because sometimes we see that they always sell the loan to somebody else. So it's up to the taxpayer to be on top of that, and they can always call us and ask us, has it been paid? And if not, we'll let you know. And if they say, well, it's a new mortgage, so we'll ask them, please call them, have them send us the information, and we'll update it on our file and see how you're going to pay it. Either they pay it or you pay it yourself.
Now, for those who choose to pay the taxes directly, what is the process?
Well, if you want to, let's say, for example, that we're going to send you the tax statement, and you want to go ahead and come before us, and we have 8 locations in the county. You want to come to our office and pay your taxes. Bring the original tax statement. It's got a stub in the bottom. It's got a barcode, and we'll take care of you at that time. You can go ahead and pay by cash. You can pay by check or by credit card. Okay. The only thing is that in the credit card, there's a 2.5%. Okay, that's the vendor.
The service fee.
Service fee.
Okay.
Now, if you pay by debit, you're also going to get a 2.5%. So if you want to go ahead and pay through e-check on that one right there, there's no fee. You put your routing number, you put your checking account, and you can pay it. You can pay it online if you like, or you can come in person.
Now, there's been a lot of concerns lately about scammers pretending to represent governmental agencies, calling people and saying you're delinquent on your taxes or you're delinquent on that. Just go buy a gift card and you can pay us right now over the phone. Is that something that you all are taking precautions against to avoid the public from being scammed?
Well, the red flag is when somebody tells you, go ahead and buy yourself a gift card and send us the payment. That's the red flag. We don't do that. We don't call our taxpayers in Hidalgo County and advise them you need to come in. And I already told you that there's a couple of options where you can pay. You can either pay by credit card, by check, and cash and or e-check, right? But personally, normally some of the delinquent tax attorneys will call after July the 1st. The current year becomes delinquent, so the attorneys at this point, they're calling the taxpayers that are delinquent and telling them, look, I'm calling from this law firm, and I need for you to come in and make some arrangements so we can go ahead and get you on the right path in order for you to pay your taxes. If you don't call, normally what's going to happen, they're going to go ahead and probably file a lawsuit against you. But make sure that it's the law firms from this area. Take a phone number and call them back, and make sure that these people are from Hidalgo County. They're local attorneys, delinquent tax attorneys. But if somebody else calls you, like you said, it's probably a scam, and just go ahead and hang up, because at our office, we do not call our taxpayers.
Now, that's a good segue. Can you walk us through what the deadlines are for paying your property taxes?
Of course, definitely. We send out tax statements. The current tax statements are sent out here by the end of October. So you have November, December, January to pay your base amount, okay? If it was, let's say, for example, $100, and you have up to January 31st to pay your taxes, base amount. If you don't pay them on February 1st, there's a 7% penalty and interest. So right there, you're going to be looking at about $107. And then it continues to go up to 9, 11, 13, 15. And then on July the 1st, that's when the 15% attorney fees kicks in. So I always advise, if you don't have the full amount, start making payments and try to pay by June the 30th, even if it's possible.
You're like predicting my questions here, because I did want to know what a person can do if they cannot immediately pay their tax bill.
Let's say, and this is something that I really, really, from the heart, I tell our community, our taxpayers, because I know somebody lost a job, somebody got sick, for whatever reason, that money that we had in order to pay our taxes or do some other things, we had to use it. So, well, let's say, for example, that maybe on November 1st, you have $200. Send me a payment, bring a payment, we'll take your $200. In December, you have another $200, bring it over. In January, you have $100. That's $500 already that we put in your file, which is our system. And so on February 1st, that account becomes delinquent, but it's only going to be delinquent on the $500 that you owe. So that helps you so you don't have to pay that much penalty and interest. And then after that, come over and start paying February, March, April, May. Now, if for whatever reason you're delinquent and it's your homestead exemption, we can go ahead. On the current year, I cannot create you a contract until February 1st because it becomes delinquent with penalties and interest. At that point, I can include your homestead on a contract. Normally, it's for 1 year, but I'll look at it and see the circumstances on a certain person, and I might give you up to 3 years. But normally, it should be 1 year. But I always work with our people so they can feel comfortable and say, look, normally, they always say, I don't want to lose my house. And we never get to that point. If it's your homestead, we always work with you, try to make sure that you understand that we're here to help you.
So the bottom line is, if you have a problem, get in touch with your office.
Come to our office. We'll go ahead and help you
We'll
out.
figure something
and if we
out.
can go ahead and create your contract, we will. And so that's what we're there for.
Mr. Villarreal, any closing thoughts?
Well, one of the main things that I enjoyed this year for the county, we had a great year. We collected $36 million above last year's. Our report to the county judge and commissioners was $444 million. It was $308 million in taxes, and the rest in miscellaneous. Our report was $444 million to the Hidalgo County, collecting over $36 million above last year. That means that that our county is doing well. One of the main things that I like, every time that we get payments, I really want to thank our taxpayers from Hidalgo County for being responsible. Every year we're collecting close to 95% of 100%, 95%. And for the rest of the entities, we collect above 95%, sometimes 96 or 97 in school districts. And that means that our people are responsible for paying their taxes. So when we have plenty of funding for our governing bodies, then that means that we can provide services for them. So those are the main things that as your county tax assessor collector, I'm excited always to help out. But I'm more excited when I get, like I said, as of June 30th, $1.019 billion that has been collected already. So our taxpayers can have a great services that we need, for our community. So that's the what I wanted to let them know. As your county tax assessor collector, I appreciate everybody, and I am honored to serve you as a taxpayer.
Hidalgo County Tax Assessor Collector Paul Villarreal, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
In our next episode, we speak with Dr. Daniel King, the Executive Director of the Region 1 Education Center, about his innovative idea to complete the education of high school dropouts. Join us on November 13th for Episode 5 of RGV On the Rise.